racing, man. PrimerPodcast, going racing.
Yeah.
You got in there pretty quick, man. Have you done this before?
Oh yeah. Grab the steering wheel, throw it on.
Sweet.
There you go. Sweet. Yeah. You drive this? No, my stepdad does. I have driven it, but no, it's his car. He races it all the time.
Oh, this isn't your car?
No, it's my stepdad's car.
Oh, okay. Hey, you better get out, man.
Nah, he's alright. I have no idea whose car it is.
Sweet. Hey, give me a tour of the inside, man. Here. Tell me what you see, what's going on.
We got some switches. All the gauges are turned up, so that if I'm guessing because if it's straight up and down, all's good with all these switches.
Yeah, pretty much. When all the gauges are straight up and down, that's about where they run.
That way you don't have to.
Yeah, you just kind of notice they're all pointed up.
Sweet. And this is all fresh air ducting.
What's that?
That's for fresh air.
Yeah, there's a cooler in the floor over there.
Okay.
That the air blows through the floor and onto the cooler, and it cools the oil for the rear end and the transmission.
Ah.
There's a pump underneath there that's pumping it through filters and through the coolers.
Okay. Man, this got to be fun to drive.
Oh yeah, they're intimidating as hell. They're big, they're heavy. They really don't do anything good. They got tons of power. It's just. They're crazy. Can we take that off? Just...
This is nuts. There's my leg, there's my other leg, there's a bracket, there's a shifter. Some essential gauges, there's a steering wheel. I don't know how you're supposed to see anything out of that rear view mirror. That looks like some kind of cooler box, ducting. This is what you see on the back side. Lots of bracing, roll bar, lots of tubing, gas tank, that's all good.
A little bit, and you're just pulling one. 2 feet, have to. 2-footed driving. Definitely. Left foot braking a lot, and then you'll do in certain places, you'll do right foot braking, and you'll blip the throttle with your heel so you can downshift, as you're coming down through the gears.
That takes a little training. Oh, it's hard, dude.
It's every one of these trailers, I guarantee you, has at least one spare transmission in it, because you go through them all the time. Yeah, they're right here. The headphones plug in. He usually has them on. He's just got his plugs in today, but right here they would plug in and go inside the helmet to his ears. Then here would plug in to the blue wire here. Comes down. Normally would be a radio box here. The radio here. And to push the talk button would be on the steering wheel. And this is where the antenna went. A little short stubby antenna. But for this stuff, we have radios and everything we use, but it's not ultra competitive, it's a preservation of the sport thing. Don't tear the cars up kind of rules,
So these cars, like an airplane that has power. So these cars, obviously, like yours is a 96.
It depends. Certain parts get more mileage than other parts,
Right.
This is a brand new motor. First weekend out for this motor on a fresh rebuild. It's new parts, but it's the same motor as before.
Right.
About 30 hours is the hour meter under the dash, and we keep track of hours that the motor runs. In about 30 hours, it'll be down about 100 horsepower. It wear out really. The only thing these cars do good is wear out. It'll be down on horsepower. It's time to rebuild the motor. Maintenance stuff every time between races. We're checking brakes and packing all the wheel bearings, changing the oil and everything. there's real fine screen filters and everything.
Right.
We're looking at those filters, seeing if anything's coming apart in the motor, rear end, or transmission. You know, it's preventative stuff, packing wheel bearings and stuff like that. You know, there's not a, like you guys I'm sure are on a definite schedule of how many hours of flight and you gotta have to do this for service or maintenance or whatever. You know, it's kind of by feel for out here. Some of these guys don't do near as much as they should, and some of them do way more than they have to. You know, it's all relative to how the guy drives it. You know.
These cars are very similar to what you'd see if I was to go out to like Montana and do like one day class and drive around.
Yeah, but the cars you see there are newer. They use newer, like the deal they just started, the Rusty Wallace driving school there.
Yeah.
They're newer cars, and they are actually real Rusty Wallace stock cars that he raced in. Most of the driving schools, they just build a bunch of cars, kind of sort of cheaply and dependably, and that's their fleet of cars for the driving school. Those are real cars that you see at California Speedway for the driving school. These are all real cars. You see there's a place over there on that bar that's not painted, up a little higher. Yeah, that's a chassis number from the people who built this chassis, Ronnie Hopkins Enterprises. There's logbooks and notation and stuff and everything for the whole life of this car. All these cars that are here that race in the vintage stock car group have to have all this paperwork and logbooks and everything that show that they are a real car that raced in NASCAR at this time in this era. They have to use all the original parts and pieces for that time period. You know, we can put a 950 horsepower motor in this car, but it wouldn't be accurate for the year that this car was raced. So this one's a little under 800 horsepower because we're using the time period correct parts for this car, you know? So all the vintage cars you see out here absolutely are real cars. Real cars that were on the track one day and, you know, under NASCAR rules racing. Yes, sir, next year.
That's right.
Unfortunately for all of us.
How much horsepower do you think you're going to lose?
Oh, they'll gain horsepower. It works better than carburetors, but, you know, all of us out here, dude, we're rednecks. We're all shade tree mechanics. We don't know nothing about computers. You know, you can take a carburetor apart and you can look at it and tell what's wrong with it. Computer? Who knows, dude? I don't know what's wrong with it. It looks like a computer, huh?
It's where you got to get that little Actron module that plugs in.
Yeah, you need the little, what do they call it? The OBD2, the onboard diagnostic system.